Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. And if you don't already know, SEMA apparently started today. And I am sitting right here right now. However, the plan is for me to fly out on Wednesday. I have to coordinate with somebody else that I'm going to be staying with. He won't be there till Wednesday, so I'm not going to go out there early. I'm just going to wait for him because he's made all the arrangements. So basically, I'll fly out early Wednesday, make videos, try to get what I can onto the channel and various other media outlets, and see what I can get my hands on while I'm there, and be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then come back on Saturday. If you haven't been to SEMA, it's pretty amazing. There's so many things going on, and it's one of those things where you could do it in a day if you just walked around real fast and didn't really pay much attention to anything. But if you really want to see what people are doing, and of course some of the super high-end builds that show up at these places. I know Kindig Design has had cars there. Ring Brothers have had cars there. Of course, I think Foose and all these names that have built cars to be out there. And there's a special category like the Riddler Awards and all that, whatever. Those high-end, super done cars that you're almost afraid to look at because they're so perfect, right? And so you have those. Then you have really nice show cars. I mean, really, really nice Super Duty show cars. And you have some that are drivers and some that are built to drive and some that are, a variety of different levels. Then you have some, they do different things where they have the super nice cars inside, right, on showcase. And then they have stuff on the outside. And this feels more like the average guy showing up with a project that he's building or something just crazy that they've come up with. I remember seeing something, I think it was some sort of a tank, but it was a truck or something. It was just all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And it's really fun to see that stuff as well, because while the super high-end stuff is really neat, I know that I can never get there. And I also know that I don't want to get there. I know that I'm somewhere well below that level, in my opinion. I know I can build nice stuff, but I'm nowhere near those just crazy money shops. But the guys that are outside that are doing it in their garages and stuff like that, I can really eat that up. And I do like to see that stuff. It encourages me because I like to see that there's people out there doing it on their own still. Like I do stuff in my garage. It's me for the most part. Roger comes over to help. Occasionally I get some other people that may come in. But to see these guys that are building this stuff and then bringing it to SEMA to show off what they're doing, I think it's really cool. So I don't know exactly what's going to be there this year. I get emails from them saying, hey, this event is happening and this event is happening. I normally don't sign up for that because although I have media asset or access, I don't want to sit through some hour-long presentation on some tool that I may never use. I get it. They want me to be there and advertise for them. I'll do what I can. But that's kind of what the idea is. For me, I want to go out there and learn about stuff, see stuff, and make some videos, and hopefully have a good time doing it. So I know I've already been contacted by at least one or maybe two people who are going to be out there. And hopefully I run into you. We'll see what we can do to meet up and hang out for a few minutes or whatever. So anyway. And I will say, my voice is already rough tonight. I don't know what's going on. If it's the sudden change in time, the day has gone by so fast. Well, it not really hasn't, but it feels like it's gone by so fast. But my voice is just like off track today. So we'll see what we can do to keep going and talk about this stuff that's going on. First in tonight, Rick Stevenson. Good evening, everyone. Looking forward to a great live stream. Thank you, Rick. Whoops. And I will say, Rick is my usually my coffee source. But today I'm skipping and I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts. I had to do some traveling today to get some parts. And so if I get on the road and I'm driving somewhere, I got to stop at Dunkin'. So there's in my endorsement for Dunkin' Donuts, but also my coffee is normally from Rick. So good stuff. Thank you, Rick. Terry Keithley, good evening, everyone in Barrie. Please hit a thumbs up and like button. Thank you kindly, Terry and Betty and the cats. Prayers to Barry's mom and Robert's family. Yes. Thank you for that. I should point out my mom is currently, stable. That's about all I can say. Just right now she's stable, and the family's playing it by ear to see how things progress, let's say. But thank you. And Betty Keithley also checking in. Have a great show. Sorry to hear about Robert's dad, Betty, Terry, and the fur babies. Thank you, Betty. And Michelle says prayers up every day for your mom. I appreciate that. And I hope you're doing well as well, Betty. I know you had some difficulty as well. TJ, the prayers are needed for our community on here. Appreciate you, Barry, and hello from East Dublin, Georgia, home of the Mustang Field of Dreams. Well, my dreams anyway. Well, glad you're here, TJ. And yes, there's a lot of stuff going on, not only in YouTube, around the country. We all know there's political games being played. I try not to get too involved with that. But, these people, they're always looking at, the politicians always look out for themselves, is what it comes down to. That's my opinion. Ralph Zeman, I guess. I wouldn't think Zyman, maybe. Zeman, good evening from Germany. Awesome. We haven't had anybody from Germany in a while. So welcome, Ralph. Or Ralph. I'm not sure exactly how to say that. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. I'm sorry to hear about Robert's dad. Me too. Thank you for that. Dave Tyson, good evening all. Evening, Dave. Glad you're here. Hope all is well. And hey, Matco Man. Hello, everyone. Kind of a subdued hello from Hey, Matco Man. I'm going to take it that you don't like the time change either. I hate time change. It takes me so long to adapt. Last night I went to bed. It was like 9 o'clock. I was falling asleep. Tonight I'm trying to get stuff done, and it's just like, I need to go to bed. I have a tough time adapting to the time change, whether it's spring forward or fall back. Doesn't matter. I still struggle with it. And the thing is, I woke up at 5:15 this morning anyway. So it really didn't matter what time I went to bed. I'm still going to get up early. Travis didn't think we were getting a car chat today. Pleasantly surprised. Good evening, all. Yes, thank you, Travis. Yeah, I know I mentioned about going to SEMA, but I can't go out there till Wednesday. So I'll hang out here for a couple days, do what I can, and make the trip. Rick Gain, here we are for some awesome car chat. Hope you enjoy SEMA. Everyone give us a thumbs up. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. And I'm very definitely looking forward to seeing what's out there. Vincent Fitante. That's how I'm saying it. Hope it's right. Greetings all from a chilly New Hampshire. Barry, you've had many Mustangs along the way. Which year and engine combination would be your favorite, manual or auto? That is a good question. Now, the Mustangs I've had that I've actually driven are limited. Okay? So the first Mustang that I worked on and drove was a 1970 coupe with a 6-cylinder and a 3-speed manual. I have an affection for that, just because it was the first Mustang that I ever worked on. Now, my dad had a 69 Mach 1 that had a 351 Windsor and a 4-speed. I do like that as well. I think it's great. Otherwise, I've had Jade, my 68 with a built 302 and automatic. So I've kind of covered a lot of ground there as far as those configurations. Now, what is a favorite? I guess it depends on where I'm at in my life, right? When I was a teenager, I would have said, give me a 428, 4-speed, blah, 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 whatever. As I get older, I'm probably more content with a 351 Windsor and an automatic, simply because I don't know how well my knee holds up to using a clutch anymore, and just the convenience of it. I don't need to do 100 miles or 150 miles an hour, or, pull 2-3 G's in a burnout. I don't really need to do that. I just appreciate the car and the drive. So even when I was driving Jade, I never really got it up to maybe 70 miles an hour. I just don't feel the need to do that much anymore. It's fun when you're younger, but then you realize as you get older, there may be repercussions to this. So I try to be a little more cautious with my age and capabilities. Now, that doesn't mean if you put me in a race car and you put me on a track somewhere that I'm not going to hammer that thing and beat that car to death, because I would. But on the street, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to relax and just kind of have a good time driving the car around. That's pretty much it at this point. So again, manual, I could drive a stick. I can't say that I'd want to make that my routine, but an automatic overdrive would probably be just suitable for me right now. That's a good question, though. Thank you, Vincent. David, bowler hat guy. Good evening, Barry. Hello, all. Hello, sir. Roger, hindsight 6'7". Greetings from next door. Greetings, Raj. Nandu. Good night, Barry and everyone. Hope you're doing well. Well, I'll say good night to you as well, Nandu. Well, I like to say good evening, though, because I don't want to say good night just yet. Let's just say good evening. Annette Scott, here we go. Awesome. And Annette, I've seen you leave comments on my Facebook. So shout out to you for following me on Facebook as well. Appreciate it. Rusty's Restoration. Hello, all. Barry Fangled is coming together nicely. Have a great time at SEMA. Thumbs up, all. Yes, thank you, Rusty. Yes, Fangled is coming together very nicely. And I'm looking forward to moving everything around in the shop because, for one, the Cobra Jet is going to be leaving relatively soon. Today I went around and I finished putting the trim on the side on the rocker panels. And I'm like, what else is there? What else do I have to do to make it ready to go? But once it's gone, of course, I'm going to shuffle all this around, get my Mach 1 back in the paint booth area, and have access to the lift so I can get this off of the trailer jig. I may start working on the suspension, though, but that'll be next week that I'll start doing that and try to get the front suspension together. The back, it'll need to be on the lift. It'll be a lot easier to access it there, but right now, where it is, it'd be good to get stuff done on the front. Jiggy, good evening, all. Having an issue with my welder this evening, I ran out of 30 thousandths wire, so I switched to 024, working on some thick material, so I upped my wire speed according to the welder's chart. It keeps popping and wire burns up back inside the nozzle, it seems. Okay, so you turn the speed up according to the welder's chart. I don't think that would be the way to go. If you're doing something really thick, it's generating a lot of heat, okay? And that heat travels up the wire faster than you can send it out, the way I look at it. So you might want to slow it down. So just to try it, just to see what happens. I've had some issue with, I was using 024 in my Yes welder, and I was welding panels, and actually, even with my adjustments, I was getting, the wire was squirrel caging up inside of the machine. And I played with it a little bit, and I did some tuning, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to back to 30 thousandths. Now, 24 thousandths on thick metal, that's really not the best choice. You need to be able to fill that in quickly, and 024 doesn't give you enough material to do that. So Yeah, it keeps popping and the wire burns up, yeah, back inside the nozzle. It seems. Yeah. I wish I had some good advice. It's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do when in these situations. You just may have to experiment a little bit, play with your settings, and just kind of see what happens. I usually just adjust it on the fly. Sometimes it's just the way I handle the gun, how close I am or how far away even. I may make adjustments in that approach as well. So just try to get some 30 thousandths wire. I don't even know if I'm going to use 024 anymore because I'm so good now with the 30 thousandths on the sheet metal. I don't know that I even need to use 024. So we'll see. Travis says, in my eyes, you're on the foos level. Ooh, I don't know about that. I appreciate that. I do. I could probably fabricate some, but he's a metal artist. Like, I don't have access to the tools and machinery that he does. And so even though I do have maybe some of the skill sets that he has the high end, super fancy equipment, the rolling machines, all the hammer machines, all those things that really help in the work he does. And I can't give him enough credit. He's a tremendous artist. Like, he can draw something that is just amazing and then build something to that. And I can draw not near that level, so I don't have that kind of experience, that kind of talent. But he has such a vision. He can create something that doesn't exist. And I can create stuff that already exists, and I can copy it or I can tune it and do those sort of things. So I can't put myself, I appreciate that, but I really can't put myself at the foos level of things. Jiggy says, appreciate it, sir. Next Duncan's on me. Well, thank you, Jiggy. I appreciate that. And that'll be enough to get a coffee and a donut. So thank you. Let's see here. Chief Engineer Steve-O. Welcome, Steve-O. Should I stay away from 64 to 66? That's an open-ended question. It's hard to answer that. And what I'll say is 64 to 66 has limitations. Personally, I'm not really a fan of those cars anymore. I've worked on them. I've rebuilt several of them. I've made adjustments and fitments and all that stuff. But my personal favorite, like, let's just say a coupe, is a 68 coupe. The fastbacks, the 69 is my favorite. The 64 to 66, it seems like some days I really like the way they look, and then some days I don't. But that's true for many other cars as well. I feel like the 64 to 6 were still kind of in the Falcon format, and then 67 was a transitional year where they were improving things, and then 68, they kind of figured things out. So, for an example, like the shock towers. On a 64 to 66, they're big and fat. They take up a lot of room under the hood. So it's hard to put in a bigger engine that has the spear steering column. I don't like that. The fit and finish is a little more difficult. Doesn't fit as well, let's say, than the later ones. So if you're asking should you stay away from them, it's kind of relative. Like me, I don't want another. I wouldn't buy a 64 to 66 for me, just because that's not my style. 68, 69, I like those a lot better. They're a little bit bigger, a little bulkier, but they seem like they've improved the design over that time period. So that's my answer. Hope that helps. Mr. Mikey, howdy y'all. Glad to be listening in. I'm glad you're listening in as well. Chief engineer gives me some wavy pink hands. Gene, 3X Xena, hey all, finally got here a little earlier. I'm glad you're here, Gene. Hope all is well. Hope you got all the stuff figured out with the RV as well. I know you had told me you had some problems, but I hope you got that figured out. Paul Taylor, howdy from Texas. Howdy, Paul. Whoops, wait a minute. My bell. Oh, there it is. My bell was a little defective. All about N scale with Jeff. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jeff. Glad you're here. Harvey, Rally Cat Garage. Harvey, hello, Barry. Happy Monday from New Jersey. Welcome, Harvey. Hope all is well with you. Jeff, I have to I don't know what that means. What does that mean? RIII, I don't know what that means. But, okay, I have to roll? I don't know what you're doing, Jeff. Jeff says, I have to tell you, if I would have known how difficult it would be to find someone that can work on the Mustang, I would not have bought it. Oh, well, that's not surprising. It seems like the people that, like me, that can and will do this sort of stuff, that number is smaller. In fact, I talked to a guy who does this stuff, and let me just tell you, his labor rate is $200 an hour. $200 an hour. Yeah. And he's got business lined up. People coming to him from all over the place to have him do cars. But I will point out, he is a serious fabricator. Like, he has tooling and jigs to hand make a frame for your car. Like, if you wanted to build a one-off custom frame, he could do it, and he would hide all the plumbing. He's a super high-end guy. Really nice guy, too. But I'm not saying that would be my rate, obviously. But he is... I'm not surprised at what he gets, and he's got a waiting list of people. So, but you can do it, Jeff. I mean, you can do the work. I don't know what you need, what you're trying to get done on the side, but I show you how to do it. You can do it. Annette, my knees can't do a manual anymore. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. My left knee is really making lots of noise now, like snap, crackle, pop, constantly. Not a good sign. Jeff, all that people I found that knew how to work on antique cars have moved and retired. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I know as long as I can continue to do this, I will have people coming after me to get stuff done. I probably get at least 8 to 10 contacts a month of people saying, I want you to do my car. Can you do my car? Will you do my car? And I can't commit to that stuff because I'm just one guy. I'm just one person doing this stuff. And, I look at the idea of saying, well, if I had this great big building up the road and I had some people working for me, I could just fill it up with these cars and be busy all the time. And I don't want that either. I don't need that much overhead. I don't need that much pressure to keep a business like that going. So it is unfortunate. Nanju says, it is dark here. Yeah, it's dark here. Dave Conville, evening all. Evening, Dave. My voice is getting rough, I'm telling you. He's also checking in from New Jersey. Jeff, so I'm going to write a book about buying antique automobiles, what to do before buying one, and what to look for in doing so. I got it. That's a great idea. Mine is a problem child. You fix one thing and something else breaks. Yeah, that's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. I mean, I think the difficulty with these cars with really any of these projects, is we are fooled. Many of us are fooled by the TV shows. Okay. So you'll see Counts Customs or something where they roll in this or that and the other. A half hour later, the car's done, right? They don't show you that they've been working on it for 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever. And that's the way a lot of shops operate. They take something in and they'll take payments and they'll do some work here and there, but it may be years before they actually get it out the door. And the TV shows fool us into thinking, oh, well, they just did this and they just did that. They don't show you the work. And that's why I try to be very realistic and try to show everybody what happens. The reality of doing this or doing that and digging in. So you think, well, I can just, the cowl has a bad spot in it. Like I've seen people posting on Facebook. They're going to try to shortcut. They want a shortcut and just take the cowl and glue it back in. Not realizing this is a structural component of the car. It needs to be welded to the car. But they'll do a shortcut and use panel bond and they'll think, I water sealed it and I saved all this time and now it's not going anywhere. In the meantime, that won't pass a collision. Stuff like that, right? But also, you start digging into something thinking, oh, I'm just going to change out this panel or that panel. And you don't realize that behind that panel is another can of worms. So you almost have to look at the project and go, let me dig into this as far as I can to see exactly what I'm getting into. I know I've had somebody contact me. They're putting together, I don't know if it's a 67 or 68, and they wanted to save their frame rails, and they wanted to save this, that, and the other. And I've seen these pictures they sent me, and you can put your hand through the frame rail. I mean, I'm like, what are you saving? If you put 27 patches on there, and you spend 3 weeks patching together a frame rail, what have you really accomplished? Buy the one for $150 or 100, whatever it is now. Cut the thing out, put in a good one, and be done with it. And know that it's solid inside and out. And so that's where we get caught up in the idea that we can, just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it'll be fine. End skill, Jeff. But anyway, love your show. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Jeff. I will. Rick Gain, Foose draws pictures, and as people work for him, I'd say could do just as good with his resources. I probably could get there, but I know that I don't know. I can't see myself doing the kind of stuff he does. Like his Riddler car that he won the major awards with. That car doesn't even exist, meaning it was never produced by somebody. He formed it. He created it, and it matches perfectly from side to side, symmetrically. I don't know that I want to get to that level. Let's put it that way. I mean, he's a serious artist, and yes, there are lots of people working for him and stuff, but yeah, I don't think I would want to get to that point. So, Don Thompson says, Jiggy, in my experience, that is caused by poor connection of the wire to the work. I cut the end off of the wire. Yes. It could be, I was thinking that too. It could be a poor connection or it could also be a poor ground. A lot of times, that's another thing. I didn't think about that. I don't know what kind of welder he's using, but check the ground that leads into it. So if you have one of these modern welders, an R Captain, a Yes Welder, whatever, where you can swap the lead around, or the ground, sometimes that ground will untwist and barely be making a connection. And when I put that mine together, I actually do a backwards twist, so when it goes into the slot, it forces itself to stay tight. So that might be something to look at too, Jiggy. You might want to look at that and see how your ground is. But that's a good advice, Don. Thank you. And also, hello everyone, late again. Well, I'm glad you're here. And it's also Don's Manufactory, by the way. Annette Scott, do you fabricate and modify consoles and dashboards? I really like custom designs. I've done a little bit of that in the past, but it's not my normal type of thing. I like factory stuff. I don't know why. I like it. Now, if I could take a factory piece and modify it slightly to have like cup holders or storage spaces in it, I wouldn't mind doing that. But I haven't done a lot of that kind of work, but I have done some, not dashes that I can think of, but mainly like consoles. I've done stuff like that, but it's not on my list of things to really want to do. Jeff says I have a 66 convertible with a 302 motor. Okay. And Jeff disagrees with some part of it. Don says, okay, switch counts. Yeah, there we go. Abe Godino. Hello, everyone. Hello, Abe. Glad you're here. Jeff says, I like all Mustangs. If you're looking for a 67 or higher, sorry, but you're going to pay big bucks for them. I've yet to find one for less than $40,000. Are you talking about one that's already done? Yeah. You should have contacted me about my 68. I sold for less than that. That was Jade. But I do have other ones here. I have a 67 that I may turn into a fastback. I'm in northern Illinois. Okay. And it says no one here. Okay. Yeah, your responses, I know you're responding to those things that I'm saying, but they show up after I say them, so it's hard for me to keep up with that. Real Nautical Fishing. Hey, Barry and all. Super excited to see the 68 coming together. What do you think is the best way to get metal for small patch panels, and what gauge are they usually? That's a good question. Now, I was measuring the other day. I had a metal gauge out because I was setting up the welder. And like this cowl panel measured 18 gauge, if I remember correctly. It was 18. And that's pretty decent. Different parts will have thicker metal, like this A-pillar will be thicker. This will be more of the 18. And what I normally, of course, I say this, I normally use the scrap metal from other projects. So, like I needed some curved pieces, and I had the inner wheelhouses from the Cobra Jet because I put in mini tubs. So I just sacrificed those pieces to get those curves that I needed. I have excess sheet metal. So for me, it's easy. Like I have quarter panel skins that I'll never use. I had some that came on my Mach 1 that were the overlay panels, which are a little heavier than 18 gauge, by the way. Those are just sacrificial panels to me. So if I'm going to use a patch, it'll just come out of that. So I really just salvage panels from other projects. That's how I usually get my patch panel work. So that's about all I can say because I don't go buy metal. Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff laying around here. So for me, it's easy. So good question, though. Rich Watley, easy to cut back the shock towers and strengthen them for a larger engine. I'm not a fan of full shock tower removal without significant improvements to strengthen the frame due to no export brace. Yes, you're right. You can do that. And I've seen people take the shock towers from a 68 or 67 and put them in a 65 and 6. So that is a possibility too. You can do that. There's also modifications where you could square them off and put a plate in there and reinforce them that way. So yeah, you're right. You can do that. But it is one drawback to the dimensions of the earlier cars. So unless somebody has those skills and wants to modify it, then they're going to be stuck with basically putting a small block in there. But thank you, Rich. It's a good comment. Richard Vogel, I don't know if I'll give you an extra bell. Did you have the? Did you? Did you have to coat the undercarriage of Slither? I did not. If somebody else wants to do that, they can. But I didn't want to, primarily because there's still stuff that has to happen underneath the car. And also, I wasn't requested. I don't know. Wasn't asked to do that. And so I'm not going to worry about it. It does have the correct, red primer on bottom. And it would be very simple for somebody just to use a 3M or the Schutz coating that comes in their 3M can. They could easily just do it with that, or they could do it with the rattle cans. It's not going to take much. But no, I did not do that. Rick A. and Harvey in D.C. Dave C., where in New Jersey are you located? Look to expand my Mustang circle of friends. Gene, yes, the RV is repaired, serviced, and winterized, sleeping for the winter. Okay, good. Dave Tyson says the cars were only made to last 5 to 7 years. Yes, you're exactly right. It's amazing that we have anything left of these cars after 50 years. It really is. And especially you find one that's like got no rust in it, even stranger. Because there's so many of these areas of these cars that were just raw metal and never treated with anything. It's like the inside of the cowl. I just left it. Whatever overspray got in there was all they put in it. They didn't do any treatments. The panels where the torque boxes meet the kick panel or the floor pan, that was just raw metal. They just put it together and welded it. They didn't care. So, Vincent, Barry, when replacing fender aprons that have reverse stamp VIN, how do you go about replacing it to register? Reverse stamped VIN number. I'm a little confused by that. So are you implying that they stamped the VIN in reverse order? Is that what you're saying? I've never seen that. That's interesting. One company I can tell you to look up is Retro Stamp. Look up Retro Stamp. Okay? Retro Stamp will remake your numbers for you. Your VIN numbers on your dash plate, whatever. They can remake those. Now, they also rent, if I remember correctly, pretty sure it's Retro Stamp. Let me pull it up real quick and see if that's exactly what it is. I'm pretty sure it's. I'm just trying to make sure here. Yeah, Resto. Sorry, not retro. Resto. So, if you go to their website, let me just punch that up. So I'm going to put this on here. RESTOSTAMPS. Resto Stamps. Okay. And I can't post. Oh, maybe I could. No, I don't have a referral link. So anyway, it's Resto Stamps. All right. Look them up. They actually will rent you the stamp numbers that you can put them in a new panel. Like they have the actual copies of the numbers, right? So I don't know if they have them. I think they're still doing Fords. Let me see if. Well, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you have. Yeah, they do have Mustang, Cougars, Torinos. Yeah. So if you go, you can look them up. and everything is there, and you can actually rent the numbers. Like if you needed, let's just say, whatever your VIN numbers are, right? They will rent you that set of numbers, and I think they charge you like a fee for like a return fee. What I mean is like a deposit. They don't want to lose those things, so they'll make you pay a deposit on it, and then charge you your rental, and then you have to send it back. So look up Resto Stamp, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's a great question, though. But I've never heard of them being reversed. That's odd. But you can fix that. Gene says, 17 years ago, I decided to install headers on my driver 66 coupe. Intend to keep it driving and doing things slowly. That quickly turned into completely ripping the car down to bare bones. Yeah. Not surprised. Not surprised. After a chunk of the driver's side frame fell out. Oh, yeah, yeah. And you're upstate. I think you were up in New York or something, so definitely not surprised up there. Rick says, whizzer, wheel, and weld, and no fear, you can accomplish anything. Whizzer, wheel, and welder. Yeah. We in the airline, we call them ziz wheels, where you cut off stuff. Yeah, you're right. Abe says, question, 66 Mustang, they cut out 2 holes to add small speakers on the doors. I can patch these holes using pieces from another door, but the texture or small grooves are lost. And he asks, has anybody found a way to replicate the small grooves? There really is no way to do that. However, what I have seen, and this is just an idea, because there's no way you're going to make that look the way it did from the factory. Just no way. I saw somebody use like a wrap, right? It was, I'm trying to think where I saw it at. They did like a wrap on the door, and it actually had that kind of pattern to it. So it looked like the old school, whatever the grainy look was. I don't know if that's still available or not, but it might be an option. But there's really no way to make that come back. And I don't even know why they did that, other than maybe it was just to give it a little bit of a look, instead of using like a big door panel, big cover. They could just put a little bit of texture there, and it gave it kind of a nicer look, I guess. And that says carburetor or EFI. Well, I'm more of the old school carburetor guy. I have not experimented with EFI, so to me, I like the old Edelbrock 600. Basically, you just stab it on the engine, hook it up, and you're done. And I've never had a problem with them. I've always had good luck with the Edelbrock. I can see the advantage of EFI, but I have not pursued that as of yet. Maybe one day I will. Good question. Thank you, Annette. Vincent, reverse stamp is when they stamp from the bottom instead of the top. I guess I never saw that. That's interesting. And very odd. I don't even know how they would pull that off, because unless somebody's just turning the tool upside down to make that happen. But if you go to Resto Stamps, you can see what I'm talking about. But that is a very odd. I've never seen that. Rick Gain, carb for the win, must usually work on if something goes wrong. That is a fact. Yeah. If something breaks on the EFI, a lot of times you're just stuck. And there's what I was talking about. Resto Stamps. Let's see. Rich Whiteley, I cut the OEM VIN out of the factory panel. I cut the new panel and stitched it in good enough to hide my work. I take pictures of the whole build just in case. Yes, I do that too. And really, if he wanted to, he could cut that VIN off, cut out around it, leave enough room to weld, flip it over, and weld it back in. That would suffice as well. Unless the whole apron is bad, then I would just swap it over. So Dave is telling Rick he's in Rockaway, Morris County. And that says, Rick, thank you, I agree. Talking about the carburetor. Abe says, thank you, you're welcome. Richard, is it possible to be any Patreon content from SEMA? That is a possibility. And what I may end up doing, the difficulty I have with creating, like you all know, like you know what I do on Patreon, right? So I will do regular videos on occasion, and I do update videos, so people could see, kind of what's going on in the shop. But I also can do a live, or I could do, I may have to do videos that are processed on my phone. It'll be quicker to do it that way than to have to go back to the hotel, edit, create, whatever, and then try to upload. So I may do some stuff just for Patreon. So that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Let's see. Rick Stevenson, Barry, you once told me, be careful how much you dig into your project. The deeper you go, the more you'll find. And that is still accurate. That is still accurate. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those, careful what you ask for, you just might get it. Ed, you can always get home with a carb. Yes, you can. You could actually get home with a spray bottle and no carburetor at all if you're quick. Just spray it into the intake manifold and keep it moving. Dave Conville, reverse stamp from behind, so numbers are raised above surface of tag. Yeah, that is. I've not seen that, so that is definitely a different animal. Rick says, Dave, I'm 30 miles away in Somerset. I think I sent you a friend request. Okay. Rick says, testify, brother. Betsy ran me ragged. Yeah, about finding problems. Yeah. I'm going to give you all an update. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Paul Taylor, how much is overdoing a resto mod? That's a hard question to answer. How much is it financially? Or how much is it cosmetically? How much is over? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I want to show you something. First of all, if you look right here, this is the grill for the 63 Falcon that I'm going to be picking up over the next few weeks. So I made the deal on the Falcon, and I went there, went this weekend and got a bunch of parts. So that's another reason I need to get the cover jet gone, is so I have a place to put the Falcon. Now, I talked about this before, and I want to show you, when I was initially showing you pictures of the car, or what I kind of want it to look like, I showed you this picture. That's kind of the vision of that Falcon project, but I've updated it because it looks better with the number 67 on the side of it. That was my race car number. That was Roger's race car number. So I had it I kind of photoshopped it to have 67 on the side of it. But I wanted to talk about some other things, because this car, the guy was building it, and he was going on some weird tangents, right? So I think I talked about it. I showed a picture, I think, the other week of the engine that he was going to put in this thing. So I have some better pictures. I'm going to show them to you. And I'm going to show them to you because I don't know much of anything about this. You'll see on the side it says Mercruiser 170 is what it is. And these engines are basically half of a Ford 460, okay? I mean, like literally the same casting, half of a Ford 460. So that is one side of it, and that is the other side of it. Now, apparently, people build these things, and they're putting them in Jeeps, they're putting them in sandrails, drag cars, but I have no interest in it. and I'm trying to learn what I can about these things, and what the potential is for somebody else that may be interested in them. So if anybody is watching this randomly, or has any information about these things, what they may be worth, let me know. Because the builder of this apparently is a man, so what I've been told, is a man named Tony Bischoff, BES Racing. So this is something that supposedly he built, and this other guy was trying to finish it, or whatever, and I'm going to end up selling that thing. Another thing, I did get some other parts with this car. One of them is this, it's not really a spool, it's more of a locking differential setup. And I was looking them over now. This is for an 8-inch rear end, apparently. And that's the part number, I believe. And so there's some things here that I'm going to end up just selling because I don't have a use for them. So this is a brand new item. It's in a box. Again, part number is there. And I believe it's Speedmaster. I don't know if that's a good name or not. I really don't know. But it's I looked it up. I think it's like $500 on Amazon. So there's just some things that I got with the car, and there's things that I won't be using. I don't need them. But again, that car's going to be set aside. I'm just working on getting it here, and hopefully somebody has some interest in that engine. I can sell it off because I don't need it. It's not something I'm going to be doing. So back to Paul's question: how much is overdoing a resto mod? And Travis says, Paul, making it look like a Lamborghini. Valid. That's a good point. Harvey says, Rick, I'm in South Jersey, I don't know how to say that. Gloucester? I'm going to guess. Dave Tyson, one piece at a time. Yeah. David, woohoo, Falcon build. Yeah. It'll be something. Richard, do you have pictures of your Falcon when it was stock? No. No, I don't. No. I have it cut up. That's the only thing I know. They cut out the wheel wells already, and they've done some modifications to it. I don't have any pictures of it from when it was. But I did talk to the family that owned it, and apparently, they owned it for like 18 years or something. And they started doing this build. The guy was starting to build it, and then ended up getting sick and passing away. So the family just said, get rid of it. Dawn says, I thought I would announce it here. Got my test results today. My cancer is in remission. No carcinomas detected was the phrase we were celebrating today with the great grandkids. Well, and you're celebrating with us. That's awesome, Dawn. That is great news. Seriously. I'm happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that for you. Don Tyson, good for you, Don. Hurricane, put your LS in a Falcon, not forever, just for YouTube views. I could do that. Hi, Roger. Congratulations, Don. Betty's saying, wonderful news, Don's Manufactory. Yep. Travis says, heck yeah, Don, F cancer. I agree. Yep, I agree. Richard Vogel, congrats, Don, way to go. Michael Pagliarini, 406 stroker for the Falcon. I don't know that I'm going to do that. That would be great, but odds are, I'm just telling everybody up front, no, maybe I won't. It may not have a Ford engine in it. I'm going to treat it like the dirt track car that they were trying to build. Yeah. Jiggy says, love it, Dawn. Thank you for sharing. And that's Scott. Congratulations, Dawn. Dawn says, my brother sold his 63 Falcon gasser. Okay. Maybe he's got some leftover parts he doesn't need. Maybe. Dave Conville, great news, Don. Yep. And Terry Keithley, praise the Lord. Good, Don. Yep. All good to hear. All good to hear. TD, do you have experience getting a 200 cubic inch Ford engine to run? Great. Is it best to try to get the Autolite 1100 carburetor, or have you tried the Amazon version of it? I have not really played with a 6-cylinder. Not since I was 15 years old. I have not. So, yeah. I can't talk about the Amazon version. I don't know if it's any good or not. I really don't. So, sorry. Wish I could. I don't have any advice. Travis, do it, Barry. ET on Slither moving out. I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks. Like this week, I'm tied up. I'm hoping next week. Hoping. I've got to get approval from the owner and finish making arrangements. But hopefully next week, I can take it back and have it back to Florida. He says, I see. I have one looking for a new home. So you have a 406 stroker. Boy, if you just want me to haul it off, I'll figure out a way to get it. I know you're up in New England, right? Somewhere up there, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont. So yeah, if you just want to haul it away, I could probably get somebody to come by and get it. So if that's the case, just let me know. Roger said, I think an Autolite carb came with the Falcon parts. Yeah, I think it did too. And I think I gave it away already. Man, okay, I'm getting ready to wrap up because my voice is about shot. Michael says, that's great news, Don. Yes, it is great news. Yep, that is good to hear, Don. It really is. It's good to hear positive things happening to people. And that is great news. I know you've been dealing with that, and it's not something that any of us want to deal with, but I'm happy to hear that. So, okay, I'm going to go. My voice is shot. It's been a good night. I mean, I've been doing a lot of talking, obviously, and lots of input, lots of people checking us out. I got 60 viewers right now. You know, if you're watching this video, I ask you to watch my other videos. Go watch my videos that I have about the Mustangs, about fabrication, about sheet metal. Go watch those. Leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Help keep those things moving and keep YouTube interested in what I'm doing. I know it's a challenge, but that's I'm asking you to do that as well. But that'll be it for us tonight. So I'm pretty sure I'll be back next Monday at 7 o'clock, unless something changes. And that'll be it for this evening's episode. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.